Gulu Municipal Council, and the division councils. The divisions are 4, and the municipal is 1. Since July last year, the councillors have been ignored, left just like that. And whenever they try to visit the clerk's office, they were either ignored or nothing was said to them. They have not been served with the letters. These are people who had contract with the people for 5 years. Their term will end in May this year. But since then, I don't know whether it is only for Gulu district, for Gulu city. How is it different? It is us, it is the Minister of Local Government. I thought,
Madam Speaker, on environment.
Madam Speaker, Mkoduguma, the Honorable Beatrice Anywa, the Minister of State for Environment, has made very serious remarks here. And some of us wanted to make some rejoinder statements. Now, Madam Leader of Opposition, I thought she was on that line. Now she's completely moving off tangent. Is she in order to really not hear the speaker properly so that you follow the speakers?
Honourable members, I want us to close on the issue of the environment. Honourable McMott was due to ask a supplementary, but is not here. Is anyone asking supplementary?
Yes, on environment, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
Madam Speaker, I want to thank the Minister for Environment in the trademark name of Mama Mavira for such a wonderful submission. But Madam Speaker, this country is on fire in an area of environment. Madam Speaker, before I joined the Parliament, I was a businessman in that area of environment. Not smuggling. Madam Speaker, I'm not a smuggler as my colleague is calling me. I am a cross-border trader. Madam Speaker, when I was still doing that business called cross-border trade, I used to concentrate in the area of environment. But I was shocked last week, Madam Speaker and my colleagues, that this business of charcoal is now a racket. Up to Arua,
alternative life food. That is why people go for charcoal. 2 weeks ago, I was here, Right Honorable Speaker, and I really pleaded with colleagues in this house that we are all leaders. We are all leaders. If we give the signal that our people cannot be directed to have a decent life food other than destroying the environment and burning charcoal for survival, I think we are also part and partner in the crime. It will be sad to hear we leaders encouraging our people. It will be correct for us to give an alternative source of life food other than the charcoal. That is why even we have people start telling people to go in the forest because they have nowhere else to go. That is not correct. I think as a country, as leaders, we need to guide our people to live a decent life other than destroying. By the way, it is even more clean and decent when you survive. Please conclude. You survive on life, on the environment, like a ministry. For example, the wetlands, we're making our people, other than us depleting them, we are trying to put fish ponds, all other beehives for them to survive within the wetlands without destroying it. We have the collaborative management with NFA and the public, those who want to plant and manage the activities in the forest without necessarily cutting down the trees. That is a source of life food without necessarily burning the charcoal. And so, Right Honorable Speaker, I really thank you for this opportunity which you have given me. I want to end by assuring you that the issue of Mabira Forest, which people are talking about it being destroyed, I want to be on record that Mabira Forest is not destroyed. What people, yes. No, please, Minister, please, you'll come another day for that debate, please.
Madam Speaker, what I wanted to say, what people don't know, including my colleagues in this house, that in Mabira Forest, we have indigenous owners who are the owners in the forest. And actually the president has directed that we get funds and go and discuss with those people who have their own ownership within the forest to go out so that we can completely seal it off. And that is a program which we are undertaking. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Minister. I hope that next time you come, you will come with a program for National Tree Planting Day. There is now rainy season. You are doing nothing about planting trees. Let's go to the next item.
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
I was up and I want to even tell Guma that Honorable Madam Speaker,
no,
please
go to your issue, please. Don't go to the
yes,
now.
My issue is about municipal council and the divisional councils of Gulu. Those are 5 councils. Since July last year, they have just been left like that. When they go to the technical people have failed to answer them and refuse them to recognize them. These people had their contract with people for 5 years, and now they are complaining. And I think their complaint is right. I do not know with other cities, but with Gulu cities immediately, Gulu City took on. Then they ignored those other ones, which for me, I thought Gulu City should have considered taking on board the councillors. Even Gulu City is not now so much operational. The funding which goes to Gulu municipality is what is being used. Why is it that these technical people who keep saying that they got the information from Parliament, and unless that day I was not there, and the ministry has not given them anything in return, why should we just push our people like that? And we would like the minister to come clear on this and even compensate these councillors. Let these councillors finish their work up to the end. They should go and explain these anomalies for the municipal council and the divisional councils. Right Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much. I came up because you had actually said next item. Thank
Honourable members, the Minister of Local Government should come and explain to the country, especially the cities, on how the councillors are going to be facilitated, since they do not have their own budget. That's still on the budget of the municipality. You should come back by the end of next week. Let's go to item 3.
Item number 3, laying of papers. Item 3.1 and 3.2, request to borrow from the International Developmental Session of the World Bank Group.
Minister of Finance.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. I'm standing here on behalf of the Minister of Finance, who has requested me to lay before this August Parliament a request to borrow from the International Development Association of the World Bank Group up to special drawing rights of 9.2 million. This is equivalent to 12.5 million United States dollars to finance the Uganda COVID-19 response and emergency preparedness project. And 2, to borrow up to special drawing rights of 10.7 million, which is equivalent to 15.0 United States dollars. In addition, additional financing for Uganda reproductive, maternal, and child health services improvement project. I beg to lay, Madam Speaker.
My members have sent that to the Committee of National Economy, but I want to also caution government that take into account the remaining time for the 5th session of this Parliament. Do we really have time to do all those things? Well, let's go to item 4.
Item number 4, responses by ministers. The Honourable Minister of Works and Transport.
Minister of Works.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I have a number of responses to make. Some of them were actually, these responses were made way back in 2020, but all the same, since they appear on the order paper, I'll respond to them. The first response, this is a statement to Parliament of Uganda in response to a question raised on the status of Matuga, Semto Kapeka, and Indeje Karasa roads. Right Honorable Speaker, at the 10th sitting of the 3rd meeting of the 5th session of the 10th Parliament of Uganda, held on Tuesday, 24th February 2021, Honorable Sembatia Edward Ndaula, MP Katikam South, raised concerns over the deplorable state of Matuga Semto Kapeka Road and the unfulfilled presidential pledge for the development of Ndeje Karasa Road. Madam Speaker, allow me to respond as follows. The above roads are part of the National Road Network, which is managed by and maintained by the ministry through the Uganda National Roads Authority. Matuga Semto Kapeka. This is a 39.7 kilometer road. Madam Speaker, this is a paved national road which connects the districts of Wakiso, Luwero, and Nakaseke through the areas of Matuga, Semto, and Kapeka. The road was tarmacked in 2008. At the time of tarmacking the road in 2008, the areas of Semto and Kapeka were mainly rural agriculture, as they had rural agriculture as the main economic activity. Considering
This road was selected to be constructed using innovative technology for sealing of low volume traffic road as part of a research to develop a cost-effective method of developing rural roads. The road was designed to cater for light traffic transporting agricultural produce from farms to the market. Madam Speaker, as you are aware, the area has significantly transformed in the period since the construction of the road. Several factories have emerged in the area, manufacturing a variety of products. An example is the Kapeka Industrial Park, which produces goods including tiles, clothes, dried fruit, and many other products. In addition, the area serves as a source of the much needed sand and stones for the construction of houses in Wakiso district and Kampala city. This transformation resulted in a drastic increase in the number of heavy vehicles along the road, which affected the road's lifespan and caused accelerated deterioration. The accelerated deterioration has left the road in poor condition and now requires rehabilitation. UNRA is currently undertaking remedial measures in the short term, including pothole filling and patching, edge repairs, spot improvements, and other short-term maintenance activity. Rehabilitation works are planned in the National Development Plan 3 period, with the designs commencing in financial year 2021-2022, and construction works planned to commence in the financial year 2022-2023. Madam Speaker, my ministry, through UNRA, has embarked on developing an expressway development master plan covering the whole country. This master plan will also ensure that all future industrial transformations in the different areas of the country can have access to high-capacity roads for transportation of their raw materials and the finished products within 30 minutes. This will reduce the impact of rapid industrial development on some of the roads leading to industrial parks and improve transportation in the country. On the Bombo Ndeje Karasa Road, which is 10.4 kilometers, Madam Speaker, the Bombo Ndeje Karasa Road is a gravel road in Luero district, and the President pledged to have that road upgraded, and UNRA subsequently began preparations for upgrading the road. Feasibility studies and detailed engineering designs for upgrading this road were completed in 2019. Madam Speaker, as you are aware, there are over 21,000 kilometers of national roads in Uganda, of which only 5,400 are tarmacked as at the end of 2020. UNRA has identified another 8,811 kilometers which require upgrading to bitumen standards during the National Development Plan 3 in order to support investments in the primary growth sector. The resources available for road development are not sufficient to cover all the required upgrading works at once. The resources for upgrading this road could not fit within the medium-term expenditure framework, and therefore is part of the long-term plan project. Madam Speaker, the road is currently in a fair condition and undergoing routine maintenance, and we are programmed to carry out mechanized maintenance along the road in this financial year 2020-2021. Madam Speaker, I would like to assure you and all the honorable members of Parliament that my ministry through UNRA will ensure that the short-term maintenance works on Matuga Semto Kapeka Road are undertaken as we design and look for resources for the required rehabilitation work and reconstruction. B, that the maintenance of Bombo Ndeje Karasa Road, 18.4 kilometers, will continue to be done, and that the road is included in the long-term plans for upgrading. And C, that an expressway development master plan is being developed to ensure that the development of industrial areas is supported by national roads network. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, my ministry is committed to maintaining the national road network in good order in order to provide support to other government programs, facilitate economic activities, facilitate efficient provision of public services, and ensure the highest return from investment in these key national assets. Madam Speaker, I beg to submit. If I may, if I could finish all of them, then I'll lay the reports on the table at once.
Yeah, thank you, Honourable Minister. But if there are areas you have already answered, you don't need to go through them again.
Yes, ma'am.
If you have already answered some, don't bother.
Okay.
Just go to the areas you haven't handled.
The other area was about the statement or the question which was raised by the Honorable Paul Semakura, MP Nakaseke, and this one we had responded to it about the bad state of roads in Nakaseke district. And this was during the heavy rains, and we responded to this question.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, this is a statement in response to a question raised by Honorable Koichenga Olive Katwesije, Buheju District, woman MP, on the vandalization of the chain link fence and other road furniture along the Entebbe Expressway and attendant risks. Madam Speaker, this is happening because of the thieves who have taken it on them to vandalize the road furniture for commercial gains, as they sell most of these in the scrap with the scrap dealers and other metal fabricators. In addition, over the years, during protests, we have also faced a lot of vandalization of our road furniture by the protesters, among which include even setting fire on our roads, where the road life has been affected. Whereas there are reasonable efforts to assure the road assets by the Road Agency Protection Unit, total protection would need a 24-hour surveillance, and enforcement of the entire road network by such an organ would be a big calling. This is because most of the vandalism actually occurs at night, not even during day. Therefore, the reason is to step up the presence of Uganda police on these roads, and we have discussed this, especially on the expressway. We have discussed this with the Kampala Metropolitan Police, and who have now increased the deployment of patrol vehicles on the expressway. We are also engaging the local leadership to ensure that the communities are sensitized to provide and to understand and appreciate the beauty of this infrastructure. In the meantime, we have also engaged the research team to internationally continue to find or to work with the other international bodies to experiment on other safe and sustainable materials, which may not be as commercially attractive to the fabricators as is the case with the metals. So a research is going on to see whether we can change the items on which we use as our road furniture. On the illumination on the Kampala Expressway, design and the financing loan, the design and financing loan from China Exim Bank did not include elimination of the Kampala-Entebbe Expressway. However, government has already identified this need for safety and security reasons and has availed the funding for the illumination under the operations and maintenance contract, which will soon start operating. With the presence of a contractor who shall provide 24-hour services to include road tolling, the problem of vandalism of road furniture will be mitigated. The finalization of the contract process should be completed, has been completed already in February this year, and the contractor is now mobilizing to start the operations and maintenance work on Entebbe Expressway. I beg to submit.
Thank you. Next one.
The other question was by Honorable Kiinji Gonzaga, MP Ukoma Simbi South, on shoulder works, obstruction of access roads, and the delayed compensation of project affected persons on the Villa Maria Sembabure Road. Madam Speaker and colleagues, the contract for upgrading of the roads to paved bitumen standard commenced in 2014 and was substantially completed by 2019. In addition, the town roads along the Mpigi Canoni Sembabule Villa Maria were all developed as part of the project, limited kilometers in all the town councils. The project was financed by the government of Uganda, and it had suffered from slow cash flow, both for the land acquisition and civil works contract due to limited budget. However, I'm happy to report that the contract was finalized, and now the project is under the defects liability period, which ended, actually the defect liability period ended in December 2020, and they have already handed over the certificate of the road. We are sure that the works have conformed to all the contract specifications for quality and quantity. Therefore, there is no known shoulder works unless a particular spot has been identified on any part of the road, not even on the town roads which were done as part of the project. On land acquisition, out of the 297 titles affected on this road, only 84 have been paid. The remaining 213 titles have not been handed over by the title owners as required for documentation and facilitation of compensation. It was noted that there are significant number of absentee landlords with Bibanja holders without any documentation in that area. This makes it very difficult for the agency to know the bona fide owners and occupants of the land that should be paid without exposing government to risk of paying the wrong persons and losing money. There's also a category of project affected persons who disputed the chief government valuer rates and therefore appealed to be reevaluated with the objective of getting paid additional money. These are within the supplementary report, which has been cleared by chief government valuer, and clearance for payment is ongoing, and they will be paid. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much.
The next one is about the question raised by Honorable Kenneth Rubogo, MP Bulamoji County, on the collapsed bridge connecting Busoga and Bukedi, barely 4 years after its construction. Madam Speaker, you visited this site. This is the Saka Bridge. The collapsed bridge, Madam Speaker, is located on Kariro Namwiwa Saka Parisa Road, connecting Kariro district to Parisa district. The bridge was handed over, has now been handed over to National Roads Authority, Uganda National Roads Authority, to construct a real bridge. What had been done was that the connection was done not as a bridge, it was with culverts. And during the very heavy rains, which all of us remember this country experienced, those culverts were overwhelmed and they gave way and they were washed away. So there was a complete wash away of the culvert section of that road. So now we have handed over that road to Uganda National Roads Authority. Actually, the team visited even the site yesterday, and now the National Roads Authority is going to engage one of the best contractors. I've actually recommended them to engage the Arab contractors who are already in the area to construct that bridge to connect the two districts of Kariro and Parisa. I beg to submit.
Thank you so much, Minister. It's a very painful area, but I want to thank you for responding.
Madam Speaker, the issues of, there was another question by Honorable Lamwaka Catherine, Omoro District Woman MP, on persistent road carnage that have claimed scores of lives in Omoro District and the absence of a key road furniture. Madam Speaker, my ministry earlier in March 2019 responded to a concern raised on the floor by Honorable Lamwaka on Thursday, 24th January 2019, over the persistent road carnage, and I don't think I need to go over this, Madam Speaker, because we had responded to this matter. Okay. The report will be laid on table. Madam Speaker, this is a statement in response to the question raised on the status of Lila Camden Road. Madam Speaker, I'm presenting this statement in response to issues which were raised before Parliament during the session in relation to the status of Lilac Road section. Honorable members, the above road is part of the National Roads Network, which is managed and maintained by my ministry through the Uganda National Roads Authority. The rehabilitation of the Lilac-Kamdini Road is currently included in the Government of Uganda World Bank funded road program, commonly termed the North-Eastern Road Corridor Asset Management Project, NELAM. This project aims at introducing long-term asset management contracts through output and performance-based contracting. The OPRC, as commonly known, covers the Tororo, Mbale, Soroti, Dila, Kamdini Road Corridor. Along this corridor, the section which was in the worst condition at the time of the project preparation in 2014 was Dila Kamdini. The condition worsened over time due to the following factors, which have continued to have downstream effects. Effect of the delayed procurement. Bids for these works were invited in July 2015. During the procurement process, there was suspension of this component of the project from 21st December 2015 to 06 June 2017, 2 years, which delayed the procurement process. As a result, the envisaged rehabilitation intervention scope was significantly affected. 2, enhancement of environmental, social, health, and safety compliance requirements after bid submission. The suspension during the procurement phase was because of non-compliance to social aspects on another World Bank funded project. You remember the Fort Portal Kamwenge Road project. In order to proceed with the NELAP, improvements had to be made on the contract provisions related to the Asia compliance. The enhanced provisions modified the Asia compliance and management requirements by the contractor, leading to frequent omissions, hence the non-compliance. Due to this non-compliance, there was suspension of the contractor's activity after 15 months into the contract, from December 2019 to 30th September 2020. The other reason was the complaints by affected community members, leading to requests for inspection by the bank's independent inspection panel. When the suspension was lifted and the contractor remobilized in October 2020, the project affected persons at one of the auxiliary sites, that's the Morocco quarry, where the contractor had identified as a source of aggregate, raised a complaint to the bank independent inspection panel. This incident also affected the approval process for the Asia documentation, which has been elevated to be beyond the project level. The bank objected the use of this site, and grievances had been considered, and the matter closed in May 2020. Planned scope of work for Lilac-Kamdini, that's that section. Madam Speaker, the 2014 concept design that framed the basis for the tender of the OPRC works indicated a rehabilitation scope involving an asphalt concrete overlay with a limited reconstruction of approximately 6 kilometers only along the Lilac-Kamdini road section. A final rehabilitation design for the road section submitted on the 8th of February 2021 shows full reconstruction, and this is what is going to be implemented. Full reconstruction, not just an overlay. The plan is to conclude the design review and costing so that reconstruction work starts in June 2021. Honorable members, the OPRC provides for routine maintenance activities to be executed for the full contract period of 8.5 years, up to 12 February 2027. Over this period, the contractor is required to maintain the road at given services levels that are assessed every month. Madam Speaker, in order to address the poor condition of this road section, that's the Lida Kamdin, that was adversely affecting the safety of the road users, the contractor had commenced implementation of emergency works, which was more extensive than the envisaged routine maintenance work. This activity was again halted because of the suspension of the contractor's obligation under the contract in November 2019. Madam Speaker, following the suspension of works, an interim measure by UNRA Leader Station carried out some interim maintenance interventions. However, the poor condition of the road section could not be improved through the routine maintenance works using the UNRA Leader Station workforce. Honorable members, in May 2020, UNRA and myself, we engaged the bank when the contractor's non-compliances were addressed to resume the emergency repair works on the Lida Kamdin Road, but approval was not granted. The bank's assessment of the emergency work scope was that it amounted to rehabilitation, hence full environmental and social impact assessment, ESA, and resettlement action plan, RWAP, were required. The scope was clarified by UNRA, and the bank decision communicated on 30th September 2020 was that the bank was to take an informed decision and ensure that the planned activities were consistent with bank policies. The bank team would carry out an environmental and the social due diligence process on the proposed sources of material. NEMA approved the source of gravel on 29th January 2021, and in the interim, the bank gave approval for scarification and compaction of the heavily potholed sections on the 2nd of March 2021. This activity will commence on 16th March 2021. The delay has been because the contractor was concerned about leaving the surface exposed for a long time. UNRA and also Minister of Works and Minister of Finance is working with the bank to resolve the source of aggregate so that the section can be worked on. Assurances, Madam Speaker. I would like to assure you and all the honorable members of Parliament that my ministry, through UNRA, is committed to ensuring that the condition of this Lida Kamdin road section is improved. We have actually this morning held a meeting between Minister of Finance, the World Bank officials, UNRA, and myself on this matter. And we have agreed that the Lida Kamdin section is going to be worked on, as I've already said, to ensure that the safety of the travelers is guaranteed until the bank lifts the whole project when we have satisfied all the environmental and social safeguards requirements. Madam Speaker, in conclusion, the NELAM project development objective is to reduce transport costs, enhance road safety, and improve and preserve the road assets sustainably by applying a cost-effective performance-based asset management contract along the Tororo-Kamdin Road corridor. My ministry is committed to ensure that this development objective is realized. I beg to submit, Madam Speaker. Thus, the responses are heard in regard to the questions raised.
Honourable Minister, thank you so much for the work you're doing to make the country motorable so that we can move peacefully. Thank you very much.
I beg to lay the reports on the table, Madam Speaker.
Okay. And late. Now, earlier, the Honorable Muyanja had raised an issue concerning the students. No, we are not going to debate this. No, no. Of what? But he has asked, I just want to call the minister. I want to call the minister to speak to that issue. Which one? One only.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I've listened and analyzed the statement by the minister, and I wanted to bring a few matters to his attention. First of all, it appears the minister has absolute data that suggests that the roads have certain sections that are badly off and are heavily potholed, and the rest of the sections are okay. Madam Speaker, I want to inform the minister that the entire road section from Lira to Kambini is 74 kilometers is heavily potholed. So there is nothing like a certain section that you are going to work on and is going to cure this problem. So I wanted to inform the minister that where possible, UNRA, the Ministry of Works and UNRA should conduct a fresh assessment. As you do this maintenance work, please be on the ground and avoid using data from 2013, because even that 2013 that you mentioned was actually the year that DOT Services concluded a project to rehabilitate that road. And this road is in a very sorry state. Madam Speaker, I know you have received petitions after petitions. And if nothing is done, you will receive another petition soon. So I want the minister to really follow up and ensure that our people can actually move on a very good road. Thank you.
Madam Speaker, may I just give a confirmation?
Okay.
That the Lila Camden section is going to be, as of now, it's going to be, the whole section is going to be maintained. All of the whole section, not parts of it. It will be maintained to the level that it can afford good travel for the users. As we wait for the big project to do the whole road, but we are putting special attention on the 71 kilometers of Lida Camden Road section. The Tororo and those ones we are doing the pothole filling, they're not as bad as the Lida Camden Road. Thank you very much.
No, some topic has already been answered. No, but has been answered in your absence. It has been answered. Honour members, the minister, you are not here, it was answered. The Minister of Education, there was a question about the incident involving 2 students who were shot. Honour Muyanja had raised it. Oh, you have got the answers you want. Really, how much more are you going to say about the committee? No, please. Has answered now. You. Okay. No, please, there was raised in your absence.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I've followed the statement very well, but one thing is missing. The minister has never bothered to apologize to the community of the road user of Lira. You know, those whose vehicles were damaged, and even between now and then the time they are going to start the work, what pledge does he make to the people who will be using the road at their own risks? Thank you very much.
Minister of Education, please.
Right Honorable Speaker and honorable colleagues, on the night of Wednesday, 17th March 2021, the information that has been availed to the ministry coming from Gulu indicates that 10 students from St. Joseph's College, Laibi in Gulu sneaked out of school at night and went to Bright Valley Girls' School, from where the night guards opened live bullets on them. Arising from that incident, Madam Speaker, this is the status of the 10 students who reportedly sneaked out of school and went to this school, the girls' school. 2 out of the 10 students have been confirmed dead, 1 critically injured and currently hospitalized. 3 are in police custody after being detained by the school guard, and 4 returned to the college. But as I speak now, both the 3 that were detained and the 4 that returned are under police custody, making a total of 7. Madam Speaker, the guard has equally been arrested and is in custody with the police at Gulu Central Police Station. This matter is under police investigation with Gulu Central Police Station. We condole, Madam Speaker and honorable members, with the families of the 2 students who lost their lives, but we also continue to implore our students and also implore the parents to talk to students who have reported back to school to remain disciplined and always be within the presence of the schools where they reported. I beg to report, Madam Speaker. But Madam Speaker, this is the latest information we have. We are optimistic that after compiling all the information, the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports will be in a position to brief the country into details, including the names of the students who passed on and those who are still at police custody. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That's work in progress. Let us go to the next item. Now, members, I want to appeal to the Minister of Science and Technology to be available next week on Thursday to handle item 5. Let's go to item 6.
Item number 6, motion for reconsideration of the National Coffee Bill 2018 as returned by His Excellency the President in accordance with Article 91(3)(b) of the Constitution and Rule 142 of the Rules of Procedure.
Is our committee here? Is our committee report ready? Honorable Koromoi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I beg to lay on table the report of the Committee on Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries on the National Coffee Bill 2018. Madam Speaker, I also beg to lay on table the minutes of the meeting of the Committee on Agriculture to consider the National Coffee Bill as returned by His Excellency the President. I beg to lay. Madam Speaker, Parliament of Uganda passed the National Coffee Bill 2018 on the 5th August 2020 with amendments and submitted it to His Excellency the President for assent. The President did not assent to the bill, Madam Speaker, and in a letter dated 10th December 2020, he returned it to Parliament for reconsideration in accordance with Article 91(3)(b) of the Constitution of the Republic of Uganda. The letter addressed to Right Honorable Speaker is attached and marked as A. Madam Speaker, the issues raised by His Excellency the President that called for reconsideration were: 1, the appointment of the board of the authority under clause 14(5) by the minister and approved by Parliament. The President asserts that boards of all government agencies are proposed by the minister and approved by Cabinet. He says this is an executive and not a legislative role. The second was the appointment of the board chairperson, that the appointment of other board members under clause 14(4) is by invitation of nominations, save for the chairperson, and it was also proposed that another clause be inserted to read as the chairperson of the board shall be appointed by the minister. Madam Speaker, the other was under clause 22(1) on appointment of the managing director by the minister on the recommendation of the board. Under clause 22(4), the managing director is answerable to the board, so the appointment of the managing director by the minister undermines the principle of separation of powers, in that the minister is the appointing authority of the board. More so, it is likely to undermine the powers of the board, which will not have the authority to control the managing director, who is an appointee of another authority, who is the minister, other than to where he reports, that is to the board who supervises him. Madam Speaker, the other concern by the President was on registration of the coffee farmers. Clause 26(3) stipulates that where a person registered as a coffee farmer in clause 26(1) is married, the registration of that person shall be extended to his or her family. Madam Speaker, the President asserts that this is in conflict with the constitutional right to own property, and there are several laws relating to property. Therefore, each farmer should register in their own capacity to avoid affecting the registration exercise, where some farmers may claim to have been registered as families. The other last one, Madam Speaker, was on clause 28(3) and 29(3), both refer to issuance of a certificate of registration to the coffee nursery operator or a coffee seed garden operator. It is proposed that the one under clause 29(3) is deleted and clause 29(4) is moved up to read as clause 28(4) to avoid having two similar certificates. Madam Speaker, the committee considered the President's letters and deliberated on it in accordance with Rule 142(4) of the Rules of Procedure, which states that the debate on the motion under this rule shall be confined to consideration of matters referred to in the message of the President or to any suggestion relevant to the subject matter of the amendment recommended by the President. Madam Speaker, the committee held a meeting attended by Ministers of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, and staff of the Uganda Coffee Development Authority to consider the propositions by His Excellency the President. Madam Speaker, on the Committee of Observations and Recommendations, The committee observes that the proposals by the President in the returned clauses are similar to the positions as had been presented by the committee in its report to the House. The changes just arose from the debate on the floor of the House during consideration of the bill. Madam Speaker, the committee therefore agrees with the proposals of the President and recommends that its report on the returned bill be adopted. Madam Speaker and honorable members, I beg to move.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. Our Honorable Chair of the committee. Now, honorable members, I believe we can only have limited debate and we cannot go beyond the issues which the President returned. There are some presumptions that everything else was okay, other than those 4 clauses. So if there are comments, they should touch only on those. Huh? No debate. Honor Kaviruka, Timusigu, then Odur.
Right, Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I want to agree with your guidance. As the President's highlighted issues surely concur with the principle of separation of powers, and I want to thank that arrangement that should also, when we consider what the President has suggested, it will remove conflicts from the offices. Madam Speaker, we have seen some ministers going ahead to bulldoze the boards, and you find that services offered are to the wish of the minister, but not the supervisory body, which does day-to-day supervisory role to the workers. Madam Speaker, I want to suggest that we adopt the recommendations the way they are into law, and we move on, Madam Speaker. Thank you.
Now, Timusigu.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I would want to commend the committee for the job done now and the job which was done before we finished up with the bill for the first time. Indeed, I do submit to support the committee, support the proposals of the President, and in this case, I think it will create a very good relationship between the President and Parliament, because what he has suggested is actually the same with what was in the report of the committee before we started debate. So it will not be a problem to the people we represent, since for the first time, the same recommendations were in the report. So I stand to support the proposals of the committee and at the same time, the proposals from the President. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Odur.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. I wanted to ask the chairperson of the committee and members to critically look at the proposals that we had made under 26(3). Even when the President is against the extension of registration, which I agree, but I thought the committee should have actually provided for joint registration where the 2 coffee farmers have invested together. they should have provisions to jointly register, because even the property rights that the president seeks to protect regarding land and other properties, this parliament has made it possible for people to jointly own. So instead of doing away with the individual registration by extension, we could provide, if the chairperson so pleases, for joint registration, so that that flexibility is available for the coffee farmers.
Honorable Chair, your response to that?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, this matter has been with us for some time, and I wish the honorable member had even labored to try to interface with the committee. Because as far as I know, Madam Speaker, there are other laws that are related to ownership of property. And I think his fears can be catered for under that arrangement, Madam Speaker. So I stand by the position of the committee. Thank you.
Honourable members, I put the question that the report of the committee be adopted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Yes, have it.
The National Coffee Bill 2020 Bills Committee stage.
Try with the bill. Honourable members, we shall focus only on clause 14, 14 subclause 4, 14.3, 22.1, 26.3, 28.3, and 29.3. We will not go to any other areas.
The National Coffee Bill 2018, clause 14.
Honourable Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the committee proposes that we amend the provision of clause 14.3 by inserting a new provision immediately after subclause 3 to read as follows. The members of the board, except the managing director, shall be appointed by the minister. Justification: boards of all government agencies are proposed by the minister and approved by cabinet and not by parliament, as was adopted by the House. I beg to move. Madam Speaker, on clause 14.4, the committee proposes that we amend subclause 4 to read as follows. The minister shall, in appointing members of the board referred to in paragraph B to I, invite nominations from the respective institutions or organizations from whom the appointment shall be made. Justification: appointment of other board members under this provision is by invitation of nominations, save for the board chairperson, Madam Speaker. On subclause 5, the committee proposes that we delete it. The justification is that it is already captured under the proposed subclause 3 above. Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, on clause 14 on board of the authority, the committee proposes that we redraft the provision to read as follows. The authority shall have a board of directors, which shall be the governing body of the authority. 2, the board shall consist of A, a chairperson, B, a representative from the ministry responsible for finance, C, a representative from the ministry responsible for agriculture, D, a representative from the ministry responsible for trade, E, a representative of the coffee farmers, F, a representative of the coffee processors, G, a representative of coffee exporters, H, a representative of coffee roasters, I, a representative of the National Agricultural Research Organization, and J, the managing director, who shall be an ex-official member. 3, at least 1/3 of the members of the board shall be women, one of whom shall be a representative from the value chain actors referred to in paragraphs E, F, G, or H of subsection 2. 4, the members of the board, except the managing director, shall be appointed by the minister. 5, the minister shall, in appointing the members of the board referred to in paragraphs B to I of subsection 2, invite nominations from the respective institutions and organizations from whom the appointments shall be made. I beg to move.
Now, members, you may recall that we really had lengthy debate on this issue. So I now put the question that clause 14 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 14 as amended.
Put the question that clause 14 as amended to stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 22.
Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Clause 22, the committee proposes that we amend the provision A by redrafting subclause 1 as follows. There shall be a managing director of the authority who shall be appointed by the board on such terms and conditions as the board may determine. Justification: the appointment of the managing director by the minister undermines the principle of separation of powers because the minister is the appointing authority of the board. The managing director is therefore likely to owe allegiance to the appointing authority, who is the minister, other than where he or she reports to, and that is the board. Madam Speaker, on B, the committee proposes that we substitute paragraph D of subclause 4 as follows. D is removed from office by the vote. Justification: it is consequential. I beg to move, Madam Speaker.
Members,
Madam Chair.
again, we had lengthy debate on this matter. You have heard the amendments. I put the question that clause 22 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 22 as amended.
Questions of clause 22 as amended to stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Clause 26.
Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, on clause 26 on registration of coffee farmers, the committee proposes that we delete subclause 3. Justification is that this is in conflict with Article 26 of the Constitution on the protection from deprivation of property and the right to own property individually. And more so, there are other several laws in place in relation to how one can acquire or own property. I beg to move.
Now, members, the proposal that subclause 3 be deleted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 26 as amended.
Put the question that clause 26 as amended to stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have it.
Clause 28.
28 or 29?
Madam Speaker, on clause 28(4),
Oh, okay.
actually, it starts from 29, Madam Speaker. Clause 29, the registration of coffee nursery operators and coffee seed garden. The committee proposes that we amend the provisions as follows. We delete subclause 3. The justification is that it is catered for under clause 28(3). Then the committee also proposes that we transfer subclause 4 to clause 28 and should appear immediately after subclause 3 as follows. 28(4). A certificate issued under this section shall be renewed annually. Justification, this is to avoid having similar provisions on the issuance and renewal of a certificate. I beg to move.
And the members, put the question that clause 28 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
So clause 28 as amended.
Put the question that clause 28 as amended to stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. And now put the question that clause 29 be amended as proposed. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Ayes have
Clause
it.
29 as amended.
Question that clause 29 as amended to stand part of the bill. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it.
Motion for the House to resume.
Minister.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I beg to move that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House do report thereto.
Now, members, the question is that the House do resume and the Committee of the whole House report thereto. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no.
Report from the Committee of the whole House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I would like to report that the Committee of the whole House considered clause 14, subclause 3, and it was amended and passed. It also considered clause 4 of this subclause 4 of the of clause 14, and it was considered and passed. It also considered subclause 5 and was also passed. Madam Speaker, also the Committee of the whole House considered clause 22, and under that clause, it considered subclause 1 and was discussed and also amended. It also considered subclause 4 and clause 22, and it was also amended and passed. Also, it considered clause 26, and they discussed and considered subclause 3, which was also passed. Madam Speaker, I also like to report that they consider it was the Committee of the whole House considered clause 28, subclause 4, and was also passed, amended. Then it also considered clause 29, Madam Speaker, and they considered subclause 3, which was also considered and passed. I beg to report.
Motion for adoption.
Motion for adoption of the report from the Committee of the Whole House.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the report be adopted by the whole House.
Now, members, the question is that the report of the Committee of the Whole House be adopted. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it.
Bills third reading.
Minister.
Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the bill be read a third time and Madam Speaker, sorry. Madam Speaker, I beg to move that the National Coffee Bill 2020 be read for the third time and do pass.
Now, members, the question is that the bill entitled the National Coffee Bill 2018 be read for the third time and do pass. Those in favor say aye, the contrary no. Let's have it.
A bill for an act entitled the National Coffee Act 2021.
Title settled, the bill passes.
Item number 7. Motion for adoption of the reports of the Committee of National Economy on the proposal by government to borrow up to euros 69 million from the AFD to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro.
The Ministers of Water and Finance here. Oh, okay. Let's receive the report. But the finance is not here. Someone should send for that Minister of Finance. But we can start, the Minister of Water is here.
Right Honorable Speaker, I'm here to present a report of the Committee on National Economy on the proposal by government to borrow up to 69 million euros from Agence Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro. Before I present the report, Right Honorable Speaker, allow me to lay on table the following documents that the committee considered or used in assessing this request. One, the report of the Committee on National Economy on the proposal by government to borrow up to euro 69 millions from Agence Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro. Minutes of meetings held to consider the proposal by government to borrow up to 69 million euros from Agence Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro project. Briefed Parliament on the proposal by government to borrow up to 69 million euros from Agence Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro project. Summary of Ministry of Water and Environment Strategic Investment Plan. So Annex A on the documents I'm going to run on the table. Maps of piped and point water source in Uganda. Annex B. Map of administrative units that will be served with water and sanitation facilities. It's Annex C. Certificate of financial implication, confirming government counterpart funding. Loans Clearance Committee letter from the Office of the Prime Minister to the Head of Public Service and Secretary to Cabinet as Annex E. The NEMA Environmental and Social Impact Assessment for the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro. The draft credit financing agreement between the Republic of Uganda and the Agency Française de Développement dated 9th January 2020. Cabinet Minute Extract 246, approving the loan request and the financing terms and conditions. The water and environment sector external funding performance as 31st December 2019. Implementation strategy of a single water supply system. Procurement plan for works, goods and services of implementation of the water supply and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the single district. Quarterly report of National Water and Sewerage Corporation of the development of water and sanitation infrastructure for Southwestern cluster, that is in Mbarara Masaka areas. Physical performance of externally funded projects as at 31st December 2019. The feasibility study report for the development of water infrastructure in Isingiro district, November 2017, and the report on the development of water and sanitation infrastructure for the Southwestern cluster, package 1, Kagera Water Works. Right, Honorable Speaker, I beg play and then proceed.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Committee.
Right, Honorable Speaker, the Committee of National Economy considered the request of government to borrow up to €69 million from Agency Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro project in accordance with Rule 175 2B of the Parliamentary Rules of Procedure. The request was presented to this House by the Honorable Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development on the 17th of June 2020, and accordingly referred to the Committee of National Economy for consideration. The committee considered and scrutinized the request and now reports. By way of background, on methodology, I will just outline the documents the committee reviewed. The committee studied and made reference to the following documents: the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development brief to on the loan request, the draft financing agreement between the Republic of Uganda and Agency Française de Développement dated 9th January 2020, the feasibility study report for the development of water infrastructure in Isingiro district dated November 2017, a letter from the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development on the project, letter from the Prime Minister to the Head of the Public Service and Secretary to Cabinet on the loans committee clearance for presentation to Cabinet of the proposal on this loan. His Excellency's letter to the Minister of Finance, Planning and Economic Development on his support to borrow 90 million euros from Agency Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro. The third National Development Plan of Uganda of January 2020, produced by the National Planning Authority. The National Planning Authority letter on the recommendation for approval of borrowing euros 69 million from Agency Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro, the project procurement plans, project implementation action plan, the environmental and social impact assessment for the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro, the public debt and other financial liabilities management framework, the Uganda Water and Sanitation Sector Performance Report 2018. By way of background, and very briefly, the population in Isingiro district relies on point water sources, such as the shallow wells, 30%, boreholes fitted with hand pumps, 23%, public tap stands, 31%, and protected springs, 6%. The parts of the districts that have no point water sources rely heavily on rivers and streams. It is expected that provision of reliable water can help unlock Isingiro district economic growth and will directly contribute to the economic growth and poverty reduction plans of the country. The existing water-related challenges in the southwestern cluster corridor point to the need for significant capital investment required for development of water and sanitation infrastructure in the southwestern cluster. The required capital investment call for substantial amounts of finance that cannot be leveraged by National Water and Sewage Corporation internal revenues, given the current water tariff, which is not a full cost recovered tariff. I'm skipping other details because they can easily be read. Project activities, project objectives, impact, outcomes, and outputs. Right, Honorable Speaker, the overall goal of the project is to secure and improve safe water supply infrastructure and sanitation facilities to the population of Isingiro district from the Kagera water treatment plant. The project specific objectives are the following: to ensure adequate safe water and sanitation facilities provision in each of the target areas in Isingiro district by addressing the growing water supply and sanitation challenges, to ensure sustainability of water supply and sanitation services in the targeted areas in Isingiro district through establishment of efficient and effective institutional support systems. Project beneficiaries and location. The target areas that will directly benefit from the project are located in the district of Isingiro. The project will construct water supply systems in 15 sub-counties and 8 town councils. These sub-counties are Ndinzi, Kashumba, Mbare, Ngarama, Rugaga, Rushasha, Kakamba, Birere, Kabingo, Masha, Nyakitunda, Nyamuyanja, Kikagate, Kabuyanda, Ruborogota. The town councils are Isingiro Town Council, Kabarevere Town Council, Kikagate Town Council, Kabuyanda Town Council, Kamuvizi Town Council, Ruhira Town Council, Ndizi Town Council, and Bugango Town Council. All these areas will be supplied by water from River Kagera. The administrative units that will be served with water and sanitation facilities are shown in table 2. That's what I've already read. I don't need to repeat it. The rest is detail. Project cost and financing arrangements. The total cost of the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro project is estimated at euros 48.48 million million, those are zeros, consisting of loan and grants. And the details are in table 4, but quickly, I can say 81.68 of total project cost to be funded by the loan we are being requested for from Agency Française de Développement, 69 million euros through a loan. 2.5% of the project will be financed by a grant from AFD, 2.5 million euros. And in addition, 9% of the project will be financed by a grant from the European Union, amounting to 7.6 million euros. And the rest is detailed that you can quickly read. So it is a loan plus those grants. Loan conditions. Right Honorable Speaker, the loan has the following terms and conditions. 1, provision of a certified copy of the relevant decisions in compliance with the legislation of the jurisdiction of the borrower, authorizing the borrower to enter into the financing agreement, approving the terms of conditions of the financing agreements, approving the execution of the financing agreement, and authorizing a specific person or persons to execute the financing agreement on its behalf. 2, a certificate issued by a duly authorized representative of the borrower, listing the persons authorized to sign on behalf of the borrower, the drawdown requests, and any certificate in connection with the agreement, and to take all other measures and or sign all other necessary documents on behalf of the borrower under this agreement. A specimen of the signatures of persons authorized to sign on behalf of the borrower, evidence that the drawdown of the facility will not breach any borrowing limit or any other similar limit binding on the borrower, payment of the borrower to the lender of all fees and expenses due, and payment under this agreement. The project implementation. The project will be implemented for a period of 5 years by the Ministry of Water and Environment and National Water and Sewage Corporation are the implementing agencies for this project. The relevant departments of the implementing agencies will be responsible for operational level activities, including coordination, financial management, monitoring and supervision of the respective component activities. I think the rest can be read to the Ministry of Water and Environment to implement it. Observations and recommendations made by the committee. The Right Honorable Speaker, this committee made the following observations and recommendations. 1, the committee noted low absorption of funds for debt-financed projects in the water and environment sector. The current low disbursement is attributed to the continued slow pace by government in fulfillment of loan-effective conditions, costly land compensation claims, and inadequate project preparedness of these projects. The committee recommends that Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development and the Ministry of Water and Environment ensure that all inefficiencies that affect the efficient utilization, absorption of funds for debt finance projects in the water and environment sector be addressed to guarantee timely realization of the project development objectives and the expected social and economic benefits. Fulfillment of loan conditions. The committee noted that government has been slow in the fulfillment of loan effective conditions upon signing the loan agreements in order to trigger the disbursement of committed funds for implementation of debt financed projects. The committee recommends that government ensures speedy fulfillment of effectiveness conditions of the financing agreement for the loan in order for the committed funds to be released by the Agency Française de Développement on time to guarantee the timely implementation of this project. Compensation of project affected persons. The committee observed that a number of infrastructure development projects are faced with challenge of compensation of project affected persons that increase project uncertainties. These are also likely to affect the project as it includes permanent land purchases, compensation, and way leaves needed for construction of reservoirs and pumping stations that is to be financed by government of Uganda counterpart funds. The committee recommends that the Minister of Water and Environment ensures that it acquires all the land titles in the area where construction works for the project are to be implemented before construction works commence. In addition, all other project affected persons should be adequately and expeditiously compensated for insufficient and interrupted power supply. The committee noted that this project contains many water facilities that require energy boosters and pumps. The energy supply reliability is one of the main risks of this project. The main risks concern insufficient power supply and frequent power failures in the project area. Short power failures are frequent in Isingiro due to repair works. Safety solutions such as power generators, as power generators or dual power lines are not systematically adopted. There is no sufficient and continuous power supply in Kakamba and some other remote areas. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Water and Environment, in collaboration with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development and its agencies, ensure the timely provision of sufficient and continuous power supply in the project areas to guarantee the realization of intended project objectives and outcomes. This can be realized by making sure that new water facilities in the project areas are taken into consideration in their master plan and the short-term energy consumption forecasts. A willingness of project beneficiaries to pay for water sales. The committee noted that the project success is linked to the water sales. It will generate insufficient capacity and willingness to pay, together with the insufficient distribution facilities, can result in lower than expected water sales. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Water and Environment undertakes community awareness raising and engagement during the implementation of this project. This will contribute to the sustainability of the project in achieving the desired development impact in the process in the project areas. 6, vandalization of water infrastructure facilities. The committee observed that vandalism of the water infrastructure for sale as steel scrap, theft of solar panels and generators are common vices. This has consequently affected the supply of water to other communities in the distribution of pipes and taps are targeted, resulting in unsafe water for consumption. Due to wide project area under this project that might complicate the surveillance, the project too might be affected by vandalism and theft, especially for non-guaranteed facilities. The committee recommends that the Ministry of Water and Environment, together with the National Water and Sewage Corporation, secure fencing for the water treatment plants, reservoirs, and pumping stations. Ensure that individuals engaged in this project are penalized according to the law. Sensitize local leaders and beneficiaries, communities in a single district in embracing local ownership of water infrastructure projects, and guard them from vandalism. In conclusion, Right Honorable Speaker, the proposed project loan request is in line with the National Development Plan 3, which runs from 2021 to 2025, the Uganda Vision 2040, particular goal 171, and the Water and Environmental Strategic Sector Plan, which runs from 2018 to 2030, the Water and Environment Strategic Sector Investment Plan, running from 2018 to 2030, that sets targets to be met by 2030, and the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. The committee therefore recommends that the request by government to borrow up to 69 million euros from Agency Française de Développement to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro project be approved, subject to the recommendations herein. I beg to report. Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, for the report. I want to thank the committee. Honorable members, the report has been signed by the necessary minimum numbers. If there are any comments on the report. No, Minister, you will come last. Honorable, is that Noeli? Charles Ngavirano, Ayinza Sengo, then I come this side. 3 minutes, please.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker, for the opportunity. I want to thank the committee for the report that they have presented. I am in support of the motion of the loan that the people of Isingiro can have good water and sanitation infrastructure as reported. However, Madam Speaker, I have one concern that I want to bring to the attention of government and the ministry. Madam Speaker, the aspect of compensation for the project affected persons is an issue that requires attention. I noticed that I think it is also responsible for the low absorption rate on many of the loans. Madam Speaker, I have just one example. There is a power project that is under construction. I think it is countrywide, but I will talk about Kivale that I know about. The ERT3, it's a World Bank funded project. I think by now it would even be nearing completion, but because government has not moved very fast to compensate the project affected person, as I talk, the contractor is ready. We are told all the materials, everything is ready. But because the people affected cannot be compensated, and these are the counterpart funding by government, the project cannot move. And that affects the absorption rate of many of the loans that we are approving here. I want to advise that before such a loan is applied, government makes sure that the money that is needed to take care of the part. Madam Speaker, let me conclude.
Please conclude.
So it's important that government does its part very well so that when we approve these loans, then we don't have them redundant. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Ngavirano. Minister, I think you'll come, you'll come a bit later. Ngavirano, Honorable Kayinza, go, yeah. Ngavirano, Gomba, Kayinza, then I get to, is that Angura? My chair.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Speaker, I stand to thank government and support the motion for the own request. But Right Honorable Speaker, I want to inform you and inform this House that when I came into the 10th Parliament, I found this project on the floor and it was proceeding. I come from Rwampara, just neighboring Isingiro in Mui sub-county. We are the same area and we are at the same altitude, the same problems. Therefore, much as we do not go to the committee, but Right Honorable Speaker, we have worked with the ministry and part of this project will extend into Rwampara. I want to put it on record that we have already done all the groundwork. This money is enough for all of us. We have looked at the designs together, water source identifications, and we have already commissioned some of the works. Therefore, I want this one to be put on record. The only difference is the bigger part of Isinjo district will be served by Kajera River, but for us in Rwampara, we have our own standalone water sources, which we have verified and will be worked on so that also all those points in the hills of Rwampara, in the areas of Mwizi, Bugamba, will also be served under this arrangement. Therefore, I want to thank the ministry, the technical people, the minister, even up to the president, that we have all accepted this, and all the politicians of Isingiro, including Honorable Bright and his colleagues, because we all moved together into that area. This will be a very big relief. But Right Honorable Speaker, I have two comments and two requests. One is that in this country for many years, water provision has been considered on technical viability. Where you have water sources, they have water, but where you don't have water sources like in Sinjiro and Rwampara, we had not reached this level of looking at alternative technologies. A lot of investments were done in springs and wells. A lot of investments were done in boreholes. Now I want that as a country, we should mark all those areas which have not benefited from any water source because of lack of appropriate water sources to be considered, especially all the mountain areas. Number two, Right Honorable Speaker, if you go to Isinjiro, they are invading Kajera water. That's why they are going to get water. Isinjiro district, I worked there as a water officer. We had a lot of springs in the valleys, but they are all dry because the water recharge capacity was depleted because of lack of forest cover. I would have wished the committee, and we should recommend as part.
Please close.
I would like that every water project that this government runs and all other projects must have a tree planting component. Whereas we are looking for water, all the water catchment areas are not there. Therefore, we do not have water underground to develop. Therefore, I would want that as we have any project, a percentage of this money should go into tree planting so that as we do the water projects, we preserve the environment and restore our tree cover, hence the protection of the water catchment areas. I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Sengo. Then Honorable Kajita. Then I go to Chairman Trade, Silas and so.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand in support of this loan, but I have two comments to make. The first one is the problem of low absorption capacity. I think this is the same case with almost all the loans that we've acquired. At one time, I was a member of the Committee on National Economy, but then all the loans we've taken up have not been performing very well. And I would request, Madam Speaker, that we get an audit of all the loans that we've taken up. Secondly, Madam Speaker, I was reading in the papers about 2 days ago, you know, the Auditor General expressing worry that we've almost reached the limit of borrowing, whereas our limit is supposed to be 50% of our GDP. He was saying that we have already reached 41%. Now, with these new loans that we are taking up, I don't know whether we shall not reach about 45%. And that is worrying, especially so during this period of COVID, when many of our businesses are not performing well. and the tax collection is also very low. So, Madam Speaker, we need to review all the loans that we've taken up. We see how they are performing, and then we see what to do next. Last but not least, Madam Speaker, Gomba district is one of the cattle corridors of this country. And we are having a problem of safe water, both for human beings and animals. I will request the minister responsible for water to say something about the proposed project of getting water from River Katonga for Gomba district. Otherwise, this is a good loan, and I stand to support it. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Kayinza.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I appreciate the committee for the loan and I support it. I support that Uganda borrows the 69 million euros to supply water to Isingiro district. Madam Speaker, this will be a big step for Uganda towards the attainment of Sustainable Development Goal 6, which is about ensuring availability and sustainability management of water and sanitation for all. And it also be a step for Uganda as a country, because our target currently wanted to increase the water supply and sanitation levels from 60 and 70% respectively to 100% by 2035. So this will be a step. But members, to note, Isingiro district safe water coverage level is at 44%, which is far below the national rural coverage of 67%. So it's more reason that we support this loan, that the people of Isingiro access safe water. Madam Speaker, I'm impressed by the financing arrangement on page 12 of the report. However, my concern is on the counterpart funding by Uganda, the 5.38 million euros. It's my humble appeal that the Ministry of Finance releases this money on time, because the components for which is supposed to cater compensation, the ways, so they are paramount. Actually, they are the foundation of the project. So I pray that finance releases the money on time, and the Ministry of Water and Environment in turn compensates the project affected persons so that the project doesn't stall. The people of Isingiro have been water stressed for a long time, so we need to come to their rescue as a country. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Sabunya. Then Honorable Augon.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I stand here to support the loan. In fact, I'm so happy that I may use my hands and legs to clap for the people of Isingiro. I had the chance to travel to the whole of northern Tanzania through a project that was revamped during the time when Mrs. Mutagamba was minister. That area is water stressed, the whole of northern Tanzania. But for them, they were bold. They were not agreeing to the protocols of the River Nile. Supposed to get water from River Kajira. But now I'm happy that at last for Isingiro, which I visited through the Millennium villages, even if Isingiro would have water in their aquifers and the valleys, it is difficult for women to go for water in those valleys. Very difficult to fetch water. So I pray that this loan from the French government will help us to draw water and give. I'm also happy for Rampara.
We might place their machines and then afterwards, the place dries up. Madam Speaker, I belong to the UPF Watch Forum in the Parliament. And it's my happiness that today we are getting a loan approved at a time when we are observing the Sanitation Week, which is running up to tomorrow. We're also about to celebrate the World Water Day. So it is a big cake for us to have this loan be passed this afternoon. Article 39 of the Constitution under Chapter 4, Madam Speaker, talks about the right to a clean and healthy environment. You cannot stay clean and healthy when you are far away from water. And therefore, I have no other thing but to support this loan. Madam Speaker, the cost of water, most especially in health facilities, is something that we must, as a house, consider. This morning we visited in Nansana, Nabweru Health Center 3. There was a complaint there about the failure to keep up with the hiking bills of water because the cost is high. I want to request that we also watch our debt burden. The committee has done well on those other things, but let us not borrow without knowing where we are. Let us be watching our ceiling so that we don't make mistakes. I also want to ask what you are going to do about forex exchange, whatever, foreign exchange rates. Sometimes we get these loans and then we benefit from the forex, the differences, the gain. How are we benefiting from this money? How are we utilizing the differences? It should be always returned to the what? Consolidated fund, where we benefit from those gains. Madam Speaker, we need to constantly monitor this project and also get a contractor who is reliable, if at all the procurement process has not been initiated. Madam Speaker, 23% only of the water sources are from boreholes, and therefore these people, I would say, direly need this water from Kagera so that water can be circulated to institutions.
So, motion?
Right, Honorable Speaker, for me, I will not stand with all my feet to support this motion because of what has been put in the report. First of all, Honorable Speaker, on the heading of this report, development to finance the construction of water and sanitation infrastructure and associated activities in the district of Isingiro. Honorable members, we are making mistakes. Have you taken research of the surrounding districts, how they are suffering? In this report itself, Honorable Speaker, on page 3, these people, the committee names particular areas which have a similar problem.